The rain fell heavily against the floor-to-ceiling windows of the penthouse office, each drop a bullet against glass. Kang Jae-Hoon didn't flinch. He'd stopped flinching at 16, the night he watched his father die over a gambling debt. Now, at 34, he was the man other men feared to name aloud. His fixer, Min Jae, slid a manila envelope across the black marble desk. The sound it made, that whisper of paper on stone, carried more weight than any gunshot. "You told me you had no weaknesses," Min Jae said, his voice steady despite the tremor in his fingers. "You were wrong." Jae-Hoon's eyes, dark and unreadable as deep water, moved from the rain to the envelope. He didn't reach for it immediately. In his world, hesitation was strategy. Reaction was death. "Open it," he commanded. Min Jae obeyed, spreading photographs across the desk like tarot cards revealing an unwanted future. A woman, Nigerian, beautiful in an effortless way that made his chest tighten inexplicably. Dark skin that seemed to glow even in the grainy surveillance photos. And beside her, a boy, 6 years old, maybe 7. Sharp eyes that looked too knowing for such a small face. "Who are they?" Jae-Hoon's voice was ice over steel. "The woman's name is Interracial Adeyemi. Goes by Sola. She's been in Seoul for 7 years. Works as a translator at a mid-level firm in Gangnam. The boy is Tomi. Born here. No father listed on the birth certificate." Jae-Hoon's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "Why do I care about a foreign woman and her bastard child?" Min Jae pulled out another photograph. This one was older, grainier. A hotel lobby. 7 years ago. Jae-Hoon recognized himself immediately. Younger, fresher from a kill, blood still metaphorically warm on his hands. And beside him, the same woman, laughing at something he'd said. The memory hit him like a fist to the solar plexus. The charity gala. The whiskey. The way she'd looked at him like he was just a man, not a monster. One night, he'd told himself it meant nothing. "There's more," Min Jae said, producing a sealed document. "I took the liberty of arranging a DNA test. Used one of our contacts in the hospital. The boy had a routine checkup last month. We obtained a sample." Jae-Hoon's hand moved to the document with predatory precision. He broke the seal. His eyes scanned the clinical language, the percentages, the cold scientific truth that shattered the careful walls he'd built around his life. Probability of paternity, 99.7%. The paper crumpled slightly in his grip. Outside, Seoul glittered like broken glass. A city of millions who would never know that their most dangerous man had just discovered he was a father. "Does she know you know?" Jae-Hoon asked, his voice dangerously calm. "No, but you're not the only one who's found out." Min Jae hesitated. "Yoon Seo-Rin has been making inquiries. Her family's been pressuring you about marriage. She's hired her own investigators." Jae-Hoon stood, moving to the window. His reflection stared back at him, a ghost against the night. "Where are they now?" "The woman and child?" "Hongdae District. Small apartment, 23rd floor. The boy goes to an international school nearby. I want everything. Bank accounts, social connections, medical records, everything she's touched in the last 7 years. Already done. It's all in the file." Min Jae stood to leave, then paused. "What are you going to do?" Jae-Hoon didn't answer. He was already calculating, planning, anticipating every possible move on a chessboard that had suddenly become infinitely more complex. Across the city, in a modest apartment where the rent took half her salary, Sola woke to the sound of her son calling from his room. "Ekison, I had the dream again." She patted across the small living space, her feet silent on the cold floor. Tomi sat up in bed, his Star Wars sheets tangled around his legs. In the dim light from the hallway, his face was a perfect blend of her features and someone else's, sharp cheekbones, intense eyes that seemed to see too much. "The one about the man in the black car?" she asked in Yoruba, settling beside him. Tomi nodded. "He's always watching. He never smiles." Sola's heart clenched. She'd noticed the car too, parked across the street for the past 3 days. She'd told herself it was paranoia, the same paranoia that had kept her and Tomi safe for 6 years. "It's just a dream, Omo me," she whispered, pulling him close. "No one's watching us." But even as she said it, she felt the lie settle heavy in her stomach. She'd been running from this moment since the day she'd seen the positive pregnancy test, since the day she'd realized the father of her child was not just some businessman she'd met at a gala, but Kang Jae-Hoon. A name whispered in fear, a man who made people disappear. Mama, Tomi said, his voice small and sharp simultaneously. Why don't I have a father? It was a question he'd asked before, but tonight it felt different. More insistent. As if some cosmic timer had run out. You do have a father, Sola said carefully, hating herself for the half-truth. He doesn't know about you. Will he ever? Before she could answer, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something, instinct, fate, stupidity, made her swipe. Adarinsula Adeyemi, a voice said. Male. Controlled. Familiar in a way that made her blood run cold. We need to talk. It's about our son. The phone slipped from her fingers. Sola didn't sleep that night. She sat in her small kitchen, hands wrapped around a cup of tea that had gone cold hours ago, watching the sunrise paint Seoul in shades of pink and gold. Tomi slept peacefully in the next room, unaware that his entire world was about to shift on its axis. The knock came at exactly 8 a.m. 3 sharp raps, precise and authoritative. She knew who it was before she opened the door. Kang Jae-Hoon stood in her doorway like a dark prophecy fulfilled. He wore a black suit that probably cost more than her yearly rent, his hair perfectly styled, his face a mask of controlled neutrality. But his eyes, those eyes that had haunted her dreams for 6 years, held something she couldn't quite name. Anger? Fear? Curiosity? May I come in? His Korean was formal, but she heard the command beneath the courtesy. Sola's fingers tightened on the doorframe. No, I can do this in the hallway if you prefer. I'm sure your neighbors would find the conversation fascinating. She stepped aside. He entered her small apartment like a king surveying conquered territory, his presence immediately making everything seem smaller, shabbier. She watched him take in the modest furniture, the toys scattered across the floor, the photographs on the wall, careful not to include any of Tomi that showed his face too clearly. He's sleeping, Sola said, her voice steadier than she felt. I know. He wakes at 8:30 on weekends. Takes his cereal with banana slices and too much sugar. His favorite color is red. He's allergic to shellfish. He has nightmares 3 times a week. Jae-Hoon turned to face her, and she saw the full force of his contained fury. Did you really think you could hide my son from me? I wasn't hiding him from you, Sola said, switching to English, her language of emotional defense. I was protecting him. From what? A father who could give him everything. From a father who makes people disappear. The words exploded from her before she could stop them. Don't stand here and pretend I don't know who you are, what you do. I made a mistake one night 7 years ago. I was lonely. You were. She stopped, unable to finish. What had he been? Charming? Dangerous? Everything she'd been taught to avoid. Before the story continues, kindly subscribe to this YouTube channel, like the video, comment, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the conclusion of this story and more intense stories like this. And you decided my son should grow up without a father because of your prejudice? Prejudice. Sola laughed, the sound bitter. I decided my son should grow up alive. Do you know how many people want you dead? How many enemies you have? You think I wanted Tomi in that crossfire? Jae-Hoon moved closer, and she forced herself not to retreat. And yet here we are. Because secrets have a way of surfacing, Sola. Now we deal with reality. Which is what exactly? That boy in there is my blood. My responsibility. He paused, and for the first time, his mask cracked slightly. My son. Is that Mama? Tomi's voice came from the bedroom, followed by the padding of small feet. Sola's heart stopped. She moved to intercept him, but it was too late. Tomi appeared in the doorway, rubbing sleep from his eyes, wearing his favorite Spider-Man pajamas. His gaze landed on Jae-Hoon and sharpened with that unsettling awareness that had always made him seem older than his years. Who are you? Tomi asked in Korean, his head tilting. Jae-Hoon knelt, bringing himself to the boy's eye level. Sola watched, frozen, as the most dangerous man in Seoul looked at his son for the first time. Really looked at him. My name is Kang Jae-Hoon, he said softly. I'm a friend of your mother's. Tomi studied him with unblinking intensity. You were in my dream. The man in the black car. Something flickered across Jae-Hoon's face. Surprise, maybe, or something softer. I've been watching, making sure you and your mother are safe. From what? From people who might want to hurt you. Why would anyone want to hurt us? Sola found her voice. Tomi, go get dressed. We're going to the park today. But Tomi didn't move. He continued staring at Jae-Hoon with that eerie, knowing look. Are you going to shout at my mama? The man who used to live here used to shout. The temperature in the room dropped several degrees. What man? Jae-Hoon's voice was deadly quiet. No one, Sola said quickly. Tomi, please. The angry man. Tomi continued, oblivious to the danger. He had yellow hair, and he grabbed Mama's arm and made her cry. But then we moved, and he went away. Jae-Hoon stood slowly, his eyes never leaving Sola's face. Who was he? Sola closed her eyes. My ex-husband, Daniel. We were divorced before I knew I was pregnant. He doesn't know about Tomi. Does he know where you are now? No. We disappeared. Changed addresses 3 times. I made sure. You made sure of nothing. Jae-Hoon cut her off. If I found you, he can find you. If he hurt you once, he'll do it again. That's not your problem. Everything about you became my problem the moment you gave birth to my son. He pulled out his phone, typing rapidly. Pack a bag. Both of you. Excuse me. You're moving. Today. I have a property in Gangnam, secure, guarded. You'll be safe there while I handle this situation. Sola laughed incredulously. You think I'm just going to uproot our lives because you demand it? I don't know you. I don't trust you. And I certainly don't need your protection. Yes, you do. You just don't realize it yet. Get out. Mama. Tomi said quietly, tugging her sleeve. I think we should listen to him. She looked down at her son, seeing the fear behind his brave face. 6 years old, and already learning to read danger in adult voices. Tomi, go to your room. This time he obeyed. When Tomi's door closed, Sola turned on Jae-Hoon with all the fury she'd been suppressing. You don't get to walk in here after 6 years and start making decisions about our lives. You don't get to terrify my son with talk of danger and enemies. And you certainly don't get to play protector when you're the reason we need protecting in the first place. Jae-Hoon's jaw tightened. I'm not playing anything. There are people who would use a child, my child, as leverage against me. The moment word spreads that I have a son, Tomi becomes a target. Do you understand that? Then maybe you should leave and never come back. Maybe you should let us disappear again. It's too late for that. My enemies already know. Yoon Seo-Rin knows. The name meant nothing to Sola, but the way he said it, heavy with complication, told her everything. Who is she? Someone who believed she had a claim on my future. Someone whose family has considerable power and very little tolerance for obstacles. I'm not an obstacle. I'm a person. Tomi is a person. We're not pieces on your chessboard. Then stop acting like a piece and start acting like a queen. Jae-Hoon moved to the window, his silhouette sharp against the morning light. You think I want this? You think I plan to discover I have a son? I built my life on control, on eliminating variables. You and Tomi are the biggest variable I've ever faced. Then eliminate us. It's what you do, isn't it? He turned, and the look in his eyes made her breath catch. Not anger. Something rawer. I can't. Believe me, it would be easier if I could. But I saw him, Sola. I looked at my son, and he stopped, his hands curling into fists. I won't let anyone harm him. Not Seo-Rin. Not your ex-husband. Not anyone. At what cost? He's 6 years old, Jae-Hoon. He should be worrying about homework and cartoon characters, not armed guards and death threats. He should also have a father. The words hung between them, simple and devastating. Sola felt her defenses crack, just slightly. You don't know how to be a father. No, Jae-Hoon admitted. But I know how to keep people alive. Let me start there. Before Sola could respond, her phone rang. Unknown number again. She answered, and a voice she'd prayed never to hear again slithered through the speaker. Hello, Sola. Miss me? Daniel. Her hand went numb. Jae-Hoon was beside her instantly, plucking the phone from her frozen fingers. Who is this? He demanded. Who the hell are you? Put Sola back on. This is the person who's going to make you regret every moment of your existence if you contact this number again. Daniel laughed, ugly and sharp. Big talk. Tell Sola I'm in Seoul. Tell her I know about the kid. Tell her we have unfinished business. The line went dead. Jae-Hoon was already making calls. Min Jae, I need a full background on Daniel Cole. American, early 30s, ex-husband of Adarinsula Adeyemi. I want his location, his contacts, his credit card transactions for the last month. And I want it in 30 minutes. He ended the call and looked at Sola, who had sunk onto the couch, her face drained of color. Tell me everything. We met in Nigeria, Sola said, her voice hollow. I was 21, stupid, thinking love could fix a broken man. He was charming at first, then controlling, then violent. It took me 2 years to leave. I came to Seoul to disappear, to start over. I thought, her voice broke. I thought I was finally safe. Jae-Hoon sat beside her, careful to maintain distance, but close enough that she could feel his presence. Solid, immovable. How did he find you? I don't know. I've been so careful. No social media, no contact with mutual friends. I even changed my phone number twice. It doesn't matter how. What matters is that he's here, and he knows about Tomi. That makes him a problem. Jae-Hoon's voice was clinical, detached. Problems have solutions. Sola grabbed his arm, her fingers digging into expensive fabric. Don't. Whatever you're thinking, don't. I don't want blood on my hands. I don't want Tomi growing up knowing his father is a killer. I'm already a killer, Sola. That truth doesn't change based on your comfort with it. But this would be for us. Because of us. That's different. Is it? Or is that just what you tell yourself so you can sleep at night? He stood, adjusting his cuffs. I'll handle Daniel. You pack. The car will be here in 2 hours. I'm not going. Then you're sentencing your son to a life of looking over his shoulder. Maybe you're comfortable with that. I'm not. He left before she could respond, the door clicking shut with soft finality. Sola sat in the silence, her mind racing. Tomi emerged from his room, his small backpack already on his shoulders. I packed my favorite toys, he said. Are we going with the scary man? He's not scary, baby. He's just, she paused. What was Jae-Hoon? Dangerous? Protective? Tomi's father? All of it, and none of it felt adequate. He's someone who wants to keep us safe. I like him, Tomi said simply. He has sad eyes. Like yours when you think I'm not watching. Children see too much, Sola thought. They always have. 3 days later, Sola found herself in a penthouse apartment that overlooked the Han River. Floor-to-ceiling windows, marble floors, furniture that probably cost more than her entire life savings. Tomi had his own room, twice the size of their old apartment, filled with toys and books that had appeared as if by magic. Jae-Hoon visited daily, sometimes for hours, sometimes for minutes. He was teaching Tomi chess, his large hands guiding small fingers over ivory pieces. Sola watched from the kitchen, her heart doing complicated things she refused to examine. You're good at this, Jae-Hoon told Tomi after the boy captured his bishop. You think 3 moves ahead. Mama says I got my smart from her, Tomi replied, grinning. Your mama is right about many things. Jae-Hoon's eyes found Sola across the room. But not everything. The moment shattered when Min-jae entered, his face grim. We found Daniel Cole. He's staying at a hotel in Itaewon. Drunk, mostly. Making noise about his rights as a father. Sola went cold. He has no rights. We were divorced before Tomi was born. He's not on any documents. That won't stop him from causing problems, Jae-Hoon said. Or hurting you. I can get a restraining order. Paper doesn't stop men like him. You know that. Jae-Hoon stood. Tomi, go to your room. Your mama and I need to talk. For once, Tomi didn't argue. When they were alone, Jae-Hoon turned to Sola. Let me handle this. By handle this, you mean kill him. I mean remove the threat. The method is negotiable. No, I won't have his death on my conscience. Then you'll have Tomi's fear on your conscience instead. Because Daniel won't stop, Sola. Men like him never do. They see what they can't have, and it becomes an obsession. You're talking about yourself as much as him. The accusation landed like a slap. Jae-Hoon's expression darkened. I'm nothing like him. I would never hurt you. Never. But you'd kill for me. Is that supposed to be better? Yes, he said simply. In my world it is. The confrontation came 2 nights later, and it came violently. Sola was reading Tomi a bedtime story when the apartment's alarm system blared. Jae-Hoon had insisted on installing it, along with panic buttons in every room and 2 guards stationed in the lobby. She'd thought it was overkill. Now, as Tomi clutched her arm and the lights flickered, she realized he'd been preparing for exactly this. Mama, I'm scared. It's okay, baby. It's probably just a false alarm. But her hand was already reaching for the panic button, disguised as a light switch. The door to Tomi's room crashed open. Not the guards. Not Jae-Hoon. Daniel Cole stood in the doorway, and he looked like 6 years of resentment and alcohol had been distilled into pure rage. His blonde hair was greasy, his clothes wrinkled, his eyes wild and unfocused. There you are, he slurred, swaying. My loving wife. Thought you could hide forever. Sola pushed Tomi behind her, her body a shield. Get out, Daniel. You're not supposed to be here. Not supposed to? He laughed, the sound jagged. I'm your husband. Ex-husband. We've been divorced for 7 years. Paper. Just paper. He took a step forward, and she could smell the whiskey on him, thick and sour. You know what else I found out? You got pregnant. Had a whole kid and never told me. Because he's not yours. Yeah, I figured that out. You moved on real quick, didn't you? What was it, Sola? The same week we separated? The same day? His voice rose to a shout. You made me look like a fool. You made yourself look like a fool when you put your hands on me. Tomi whimpered behind her. Daniel's eyes found the boy, and something ugly twisted his features. That him? The bastard you chose over saving our marriage. Don't you dare. Daniel lunged. Sola screamed, pushing Tomi toward the closet, but Daniel was faster than she remembered. His hand caught her wrist, yanking her forward. She smelled the alcohol, the sweat, the familiar scent of violence about to unfold. Let me go. Not until we talk. Not until you explain why you threw away everything we had. We had nothing. You were a drunk and a bully, and I was too young to know I deserved better. His other hand rose, and she saw the strike coming, had time to recognize the trajectory, the force, the intention to hurt. She closed her eyes. The blow never landed. When she opened her eyes, Daniel was on the floor, and Kang Jae-Hoon stood over him like an avenging angel dressed in black. Blood dripped from Jae-Hoon's knuckles. His face was a mask of controlled fury that made Daniel's rage look like a child's tantrum. You made a mistake coming here, Jae-Hoon said, his voice so calm it was terrifying. You made an even bigger mistake touching her. Daniel scrambled backward, suddenly sober with fear. Who the hell are you? I'm the father of that boy you called a bastard. I'm the man who's going to make you regret every moment of your pathetic existence. Jae-Hoon crouched, grabbing Daniel by the collar. But first, you're going to apologize to Sola. And then to my son. I'm not apologizing to. The sound of breaking bone cut off Daniel's protest. He screamed, clutching his arm. Jae-Hoon had moved so fast Sola barely saw it. That was your radius, Jae-Hoon said conversationally. You have 205 other bones. Shall we continue? Jae-Hoon, stop. Sola's voice shook, but she forced herself to step forward. Please. Not in front of Tomi. Jae-Hoon's eyes found hers, and she saw the struggle there, the man trying to contain the monster. Finally, he released Daniel, who collapsed like a puppet with cut strings. Min-jae, Jae-Hoon called. 2 men appeared in the doorway, efficient and silent. Take this trash out. Make sure he understands that if he ever comes near my family again, we'll be having a very different conversation. One he won't survive. As they dragged Daniel away, his screams echoing down the hallway, Sola rushed to the closet where Tomi had hidden. She found him curled in the corner, hands over his ears, tears streaming down his face. It's over, baby. It's over. She pulled him into her arms, rocking him. The scary man saved us, Tomi whispered. He hurt the angry man. I know. Jae-Hoon appeared in the doorway, his hands cleaned, his composure restored. But when he looked at Tomi crying, something cracked in his expression. I'm sorry, he said, kneeling beside them. I'm sorry you had to see that. Tomi pulled away from Sola and, before she could stop him, wrapped his small arms around Jae-Hoon's neck. Thank you for protecting my mama. Sola watched Jae-Hoon freeze, his arms hovering uncertainly before slowly, carefully closing around his son. His eyes met hers over Tomi's shoulder, and in them, she saw everything he couldn't say. The fear, the tenderness, the absolute terror of caring about something that could be hurt. After Tomi finally fell asleep, exhausted from adrenaline and tears, Sola found Jae-Hoon standing on the balcony. The city lights glittered below, indifferent to the violence that had unfolded stories above. You broke his arm, she said. I showed restraint. I wanted to break everything. That's supposed to make me feel better? No. It's supposed to make you understand that I'm trying. For you. For Tomi. He turned to face her. I'm not a good man, Sola. I've done things that would make you sick. But I'm trying to be a good father. I just don't know if I know how. Sola stepped closer, close enough to see the strain around his eyes, the exhaustion he hid so well. You held him. After everything, after the violence and the fear, you held him gently. That's how you start. Is it enough? I don't know. Ask me again tomorrow. And the day after. And the day after that. She paused. You can't fix 6 years in one night, Jae-Hoon. Even if you wanted to. I do want to. I want. He stopped, struggling with words that didn't come naturally to a man who ruled through action. I want to know my son. I want him to know me as more than the scary man who breaks arms. I want. What? Say it. I want you to stop looking at me like I'm a monster you're forced to tolerate. The honesty in his voice disarmed her. I don't think you're a monster. I think you're dangerous. There's a difference. Is there? Yes. Monsters can't help what they are. Dangerous people make choices. She met his eyes. What choices are you going to make, Jae-Hoon? Before he could answer, his phone buzzed. He glanced at it, and his entire demeanor shifted, shoulders tensing, jaw tightening. What is it? Sola asked. Yoon Seo-Rin. She's requested a meeting. Tomorrow. She says it's urgent. What does she want? To see if you're real. To see if Tomi is real. To decide if you're a threat she needs to eliminate. He looked at Sola. She's not like Daniel. She won't come drunk and sloppy. She'll come with lawyers and social workers and weapons you can't see until they've already cut you. Then what do? We show her that you're not going anywhere. That Tomi is mine. That she's already lost a war she didn't know she was fighting. Sola should have been frightened. Should have been angry at being dragged deeper into Jae-Hoon's dangerous world. But standing there, with her son sleeping safely in the next room and this complicated, violent, protective man beside her, she felt something else entirely. She felt like maybe, just maybe, they had a chance. The meeting took place in a restaurant that cost more per plate than Sola's monthly salary used to be. Yoon Seo-Rin arrived precisely on time, dressed in white Chanel, her hair pulled back so severely it looked painful. She was beautiful in the way ice sculptures were beautiful, cold, perfect, and completely untouchable. Jae-Hoon had insisted Sola come. She needs to see you're not intimidated. That you belong here. But Sola didn't belong here, and they both knew it. She wore a simple black dress that Jae-Hoon had purchased for her, refusing to accept it as charity even as she slipped it on. Beside her, Jae-Hoon sat like a carved statue, his hand resting possessively on the back of her chair. Seo-Rin's eyes catalogued everything: Sola's dress, her natural hair worn in twists, the slight nervous tremor in her hands. When she finally spoke, her Korean was crystalline and cutting. So you're the woman who thinks she can trap Kang Jae-Hoon with a child. I never trapped anyone, Sola replied in equally fluent Korean, satisfaction flickering through her as surprise crossed Seo-Rin's face. I didn't even tell him about Tomi. How convenient. Keep the child secret until the father is successful enough to be worth pursuing. That's enough, Jae-Hoon said quietly. You requested this meeting, Seo-Rin. State your purpose or leave. Seo-Rin's painted smile never wavered. My family has been patient, Jae-Hoon. We've overlooked your reluctance to commit, assuming it was merely your nature. But this, she gestured at Sola with one manicured hand. This complicates everything. And what am I supposed to tell my father? That you're throwing away our alliance for some foreign woman and her bastard. The slur hung in the air like poison. Sola felt Jae-Hoon's entire body coil with violence. But she spoke first, her voice steady and cold. My son has a name. Use it, or this conversation is over. Seo-Rin's eyes narrowed. You have no idea what you've walked into, do you? The world Jae-Hoon inhabits, the enemies he has, the blood on his hands. You think you can survive here? You think your son can? I survived an abusive marriage. I survived being alone in a foreign country with a newborn. I survived 7 years of looking over my shoulder. Sola met Seo-Rin's gaze without flinching. I'll survive you too. For a moment, something like respect flickered across Seo-Rin's features. Then it vanished, replaced by calculation. Perhaps. But survival isn't the same as belonging. You'll always be the outsider. The foreign woman who doesn't understand our ways. Your son will grow up between two worlds, never quite fitting in either. The words hit harder than Sola expected because they echoed her own fears. She'd worried about this for 6 years, raising a mixed child in a country that valued homogeneity, where Tomi would be too Korean for Nigeria and too Nigerian for Korea. Jae-Hoon's hand found hers under the table, warm and solid. My son will fit wherever I say he fits. And anyone who suggests otherwise will learn exactly how far my reach extends. Seo-Rin stood, smoothing her dress. You're making a mistake, Jae-Hoon. My family won't forget this insult. Then tell your family that Kang Jae-Hoon doesn't respond well to threats. He remained seated, a deliberate show of disrespect. And Seo-Rin, if anything happens to Sola or Tomi, anything at all, I'll know where to look first. After she left, Sola exhaled shakily. That went well. She's dangerous. More dangerous than Daniel because she has resources and patience. Jae-Hoon signaled for the check. But she's also pragmatic. She'll weigh the cost of pursuing this against the benefit. Eventually, she'll move on. And if she doesn't, then I'll make the decision for her. They rode back to the penthouse in silence. Tomi was asleep when they arrived, watched over by guards who nodded respectfully at Jae-Hoon. Sola checked on her son, brushing hair from his forehead, marveling at how peaceful he looked despite everything. She found Jae-Hoon on the balcony again, his usual haunt. The city sprawled below them, millions of lights representing millions of lives he could never touch or control. Thank you, Sola said, for standing up for us today. You don't need to thank me for protecting my own family. The word, family, settled between them, heavy with implication. Is that what we are? Jae-Hoon turned to face her, and in the dim light, he looked almost vulnerable. I don't know what we are, Sola. I only know that when I saw Daniel's hand on you, I wanted to kill him. When Seo-Rin called Tomi a bastard, I wanted to destroy everything she's ever loved. These aren't feelings I'm accustomed to. Love isn't supposed to be comfortable. Is that what this is? Love. Sola stepped closer, close enough to feel the heat radiating from his body. I don't know yet. Ask me again tomorrow. And the day after. And the day after that. He smiled then, a real smile that transformed his face from dangerous to devastating. You keep saying that. Because it's true. You can't rush trust, Jae-Hoon. You can't force belonging. It happens slowly, in moments, in choices. What choice would you have me make? Choose to be here, not out of obligation or protection or fear. Choose to be Tomi's father because you want to know him. Choose to. She stopped, not ready to finish that sentence. Choose to what? He moved closer, his hand coming up to cup her face with surprising gentleness. Say it. Choose us. Not because we need saving, but because we're worth knowing. For a long moment, they stood there, the dangerous man and the woman who refused to fear him, the city glittering below like scattered diamonds. Then Jae-Hoon leaned down, his lips brushing her forehead in a gesture so tender it made her chest ache. I choose you, he whispered. Both of you. For however long you'll have me. Inside, Tomi stirred in his sleep, dreaming of chess pieces and black cars and a father with sad eyes who'd finally come home. Outside, Seoul hummed with life and danger and possibility. The deadliest man in Seoul had finally found something worth protecting. And for the first time in his violent, calculated life, Kang Jae-Hoon understood that some battles couldn't be won with violence or strategy or fear. Some battles could only be won with patience, with presence, with the terrifying vulnerability of showing up every day and choosing love over control. His phone buzzed. New threats, new enemies, new wars waiting to be fought. He ignored it. Tomorrow would bring its own dangers. Tonight, he would stand guard over his family, learning the strange and difficult art of being gentle, of being present, of being enough. And in the apartment behind him, Sola watched through the glass, her hand over her heart, wondering if broken things could ever be made whole, if dangerous men could ever truly change, if a love born from secrets and fear could transform into something real and lasting. She didn't have answers yet, but she had time, and choice, and a man who was willing to learn. For now, that was enough. To enjoy more stories, kindly subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, comment, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more intense stories like this.